Hey guys, no Zoup for you here, and a while back I made you all a promise. Back when radio position finding first came out and I declared my somewhat neutrality on the situation, a lot of you noticed that I hadn't played destroyers in a fair amount of time. And in all honesty, it's probably been since the closed beta testing that I've really given an extreme concerted effort on playing destroyers. So, you all challenged me, and I have accepted your challenge. And I told you that I was going to accept your challenge. And in doing that, I have made a concerted effort on destroyers, which has kind of rekindled a little bit of love that I had for them back in the day. Although back then it was primarily Japanese destroyers that I loved, although I kind of plateaued in the middle area. I really love the Minakaze, but based on your challenge, I decided to start going up the US destroyer line, and as of right now, I have finally completed the grind up to the Benson. So, what I'm going to do today is kind of tell you my findings on both the Farragut and the Mahan. So yeah, there we go. Farragut and Mahan, done, complete, finished. Just before I get into the meat, I'm going to tell you a little how I did. So, for my grind in the Farragut, I had 14 battles total. In the Mahan, I had 22 battles total. So, kind of blazed through them, got done as quickly as I can. So, a little bit of the stats on both those ships. The Farragut, as I said, 14 battles. Was able to compile a win rate of 71%, not that bad. Damage, 45,389 average damage. Now, this for me is unique. It's odd. And the reason for that is I am used to playing battleships and mostly cruisers as well. And 45,000 to me is very low. And since I don't really have anything to pit that against, I'm just going to have to go with my own playing. And I don't like putting out that little of damage. Again, I'm used to putting out 80, 90, 100 plus K-thousand rounds on average. My playing in these two destroyers has not been up to that damage-wise. So, whether or not that is below average or not, I don't know. But for me it is. So, average XP in the Farragut was 1,700, KD 3.3. And moving on to the WTR, for what Warships Today considers Unicum, I played Unicum in the Farragut. Almost Super Unicum, so just shy of that. At 1788, I needed 1800, so it's safe to say I played the Farragut very well in the small amount of games that I played in it for its grind. The Mahan, damage got even worse on that, 36,000 to a win percentage of 59%. Now, bear in mind, for these two grinds, I did not play with anyone else. I didn't play with any buddies or anything, so this was strictly me out on the town, strutting my stuff, playing destroyers, and it was a pretty tough learning curve, for me at least, not having played them in such a long time. Kill death in the Mahan was 2.7, so not too bad. And the WTR, again, 1680, so squarely in the Unicum arena. And you know, really, I don't care about stats that much, and the only reason I'm presenting these to you is just to say that yes, I played these ships. Yes, I played in super try-hard mode, which I normally don't, which, you know, it's just the way I play. I like to have fun. But I put out a concerted effort in both the Farragut and the Mahan. So, there you have it. Played at a Unicum level for 36, 38 rounds or so, finished the grind in both these ships, and these are my findings and what I think. And, you know, I think it's a good time that I played these ships also. The Farragut I played before the most recent patch that nerfed stealth fire. The Mahan I had just started playing when that hit, so that being said, I can tell you the impact on myself and how it forced me to change playing. And right now, I'm going to be honest, it didn't that much. It really did not. And again, my playstyle in these two ships was that of more of a support role. I didn't always go guns blazing into the cap in an attempt to sink and destroy the first ships that I saw. I just didn't. I played more conservative, and you'll probably agree that my damage shows that. Though that's not a bad thing, because my survivability was fairly decent for these rounds. At least in the Farragut. My survivability was 71%, so for the most part, if I survived in the Farragut, I won. 71% win rate, 71% survival. And that makes sense. And I played the Farragut a lot better than the Mahan. I enjoy the Farragut a lot more. And probably the reason for that is, being as rusty as I am in destroyers, I was a lot more comfortable at that tier level. And again, the mid-tier areas, the 5s, the 6s, and to some extent the 7s, allows you to be, I guess, a lot more cavalier. You can make more mistakes and survive, because on a whole, the players, I hate saying the players are more average, but a decent player's effect is a lot more pronounced down at that level than it is at a higher level. It's a lot easier for me to carry games in mid-tiers than it is for me to carry games in high tiers, and that's just because of the level I'm at in playing. I mean, I'm not super unicum overall. If I was super unicum, I would have probably played a lot better in the Mahan and been able to carry a lot more of those games. Which again, in the Mahan, my survival rate was 55%, my win rate was 59%, so very, very close right there. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the Farragut a lot more. I found it a lot more suited to my playstyle. The Mahan, I had issues because its concealment just is not that great, especially at tier 7, where you really kind of have to depend on that concealment. The other hits against these destroyers, and I had forgot how bad they are, but gosh, these torpedoes are just not great. I did not enjoy the torpedoes whatsoever. And that's probably partly why my damage was so low. I had to rely on my guns, and I had to rely on firing and smoke, because the torpedoes just aren't that great. The Farragut and the Mahan are perfectly suited to doing awesome in their own tiers. When you get evenly matched, or when I got evenly matched, I did wonderful. I did great. You know, a Farragut going up against a New York or, a Fuso, you can absolutely eat them alive, even with 55-knot torpedoes. And that, again, is because the battleships are slower. The players, they don't really do what they have to do to survive. A lot of straight line sailing. So my best rounds in these two destroyers when I was evenly paired. But when I got up-tiered, that's when I saw my damage go down. That's when I had to play a little more crafty. That's when I had to be a little more cautious. So, again, while I was playing at a Unicum, super Unicum level, sometimes it wasn't off of damage. It was because I was playing smart. I was capping when other ships weren't there, just being a sneaky, devious little bastard, which, it's a method. That's a way to play, and I found a way to play that suited myself. It wasn't that exciting. I really don't enjoy that type of play style, but I made it work for the grind in these two ships. Now, the hot button items, that is the reason I started this grind. First and foremost, radio position finding. I think it's safe to say at this point that it was not the game changer that everyone thought it was going to be. It did not bring doom and gloom. And out of these 36 rounds, I only encountered it probably 2, maybe 3 times. And out of the times I encountered it, I want to say that I was only really locked onto hard 1 time. That's it. That's it. So really, for this grind, I didn't have that much issue encountering radio position finding. Now, there are other things that I had issues with, and playing destroyers really makes me understand how big of an effect radar has, especially in those mid-tiers. I mean, there was one round, I think I just got done grinding the Farragut, I had the Mahan, and I was playing on one of those maps, I can't remember the name right now, but you know how on the left side or right, depending where you start from, there's that nice little channel. Well, I shoot there to cap, and out of nowhere, I just got focus fired by 5 ships, and I didn't even know they were there. They rounded the corner, they had a Belfast with them, the Belfast started pinging away, and I ended the round doing 0 damage, and I think I might have got 300 XP. Fortunately, I played decent enough the rest of the time that really didn't bring me down too much, but again, it was a very humbling experience. So, yes, I will say that while radio position finding is not that big of a deal, radar is a huge deal, and it is a huge annoyance. So, yes, I agree on that forefront. And I'm also going to say U.S. destroyers in these tiers, at this middle tier level, not really happy with their guns. I just did not enjoy them. I mean, I was able to do a lot of damage with them as a destroyer hunter, but still I had issues with Russian destroyers, German destroyers to some extent. No, not so much IJN destroyers, and that's to be expected. But again, the guns just, weren't doing it for me. The torpedoes weren't they just weren't doing it for me. So, a lot of people said that U.S. destroyers got hit hardest from the stealth fire elimination. I can't really agree with that. I mean, I played them fine. I didn't enjoy them at the level that I was hoping I would, but I don't think that's because of the changes in the game. I think that's just how U.S. destroyers are to begin with. And I know there's great things waiting for me when I get done with the Benson. I know I've got the Fletcher there, and already I've started a couple rounds. I've had some decent rounds with the Benson, and I've had some poor rounds. So that is a work in progress as well. And my plan with that, again, is to play through the Benson, and depending on how long that takes, I might report my findings back on that ship as well. So whether you want to consider this a review or not, I don't know. Maybe this is a review. I just reviewed the Farragut and the Mahan for you. I mean, I enjoyed the grind. I didn't hate it, but the ships, in my opinion, are just kind of lacking when facing other ships in the destroyer class, when facing Russian destroyers, especially when facing higher tiered Russian destroyers, and to some extent German destroyers. Yeah, these ships have some issues. And again, the torpedoes, I can't stand them. 55 knots, really? 55 knots? They're slow, they're weak, I remember Japanese destroyers and how good their torps are and how good, for the most part, they still are. These torpedoes on these ships, though, they just don't get the job done for me. So if there are any gripes I have after having played these ships, it's not from the changes that the patches have brought. It's not from the changes the commander skills have brought. It's just overall what the U.S. destroyer line lacks. And it's all coming back to me because I remember this stuff. I remember these are gripes we've always had. So really, I don't think anything has changed. And the elimination of stealth firing just meant that I didn't fire in the open unless I know I wasn't getting targeted. I was a lot more apt to just sit and smoke. But again, I played these two destroyers as support ships. I stuck back with the team for the most part. When I knew I had to, I provided smoke for my teammates and helped them out. And that's how I played them. I didn't charge in guns blazing. I just kind of took my time as a little more methodical. So there you go, guys. You challenged me. Challenge accepted. I think I did pretty good with these two ships. Again, almost super unicum with the Farragut, which I know that's probably not something to be too proud of. Really isn't. And it was only 14 rounds, but that's how long it took me to grind through it. And again, squarely unicum with the Mahan. So I guess I haven't lost it completely. Just, I wanted to do this because you challenged me, and, I wanted to see. I wanted to see the plight of the destroyer. And I understand now that there are some definite plights. Mainly, radar is the biggest thing right now that I can see. And just the deficiencies with U.S. Navy destroyers overall. So, anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, and thanks for letting me give you my views and how I did. So, if you got anything to add to this conversation regarding U.S. destroyers and destroyers in general, please, by all means, leave a comment. I will catch you all later. I am out.